Poultry farmers may soon get an ease on their operating costs. A cybercrime act being developed for Barbados. And in sports, Barbados had to settle for second place in the Carifta Swimming Championships.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. An effort is being made to boost confidence among Barbadians and local companies conducting business online. It comes with an announcement from Commerce Minister Donville Innes that a cybercrime act is being developed for Barbados. Calling it government's response to what is the biggest concern for people conducting business online, he says development of a framework will be done this year and some legislation is already in place.
The Data Protection Bill seeks to provide certain safeguards to the management of individuals' personal data, in particular to the protection of privacy of individuals and the regulations with respect to the collection, keeping, processing, and use of personal data. Notwithstanding all of the existing legislation, we believe that further work needs to be done. And accordingly, my ministry will be developing a framework for the crafting of a cybercrime act during the course of this calendar year.
During a seminar titled The Impact of E-Commerce on Entrepreneurs and Small Businesses held at Bagnall Point Gallery, Pelican Village, he also issued a word of caution to local internet users about public bashing of others online. He warns that government will step in to address the situation.
I really expect that we exercise some common sense and some respect going forward. What I see passing around this society in some of these chat rooms and some of these blog sites and Facebook pages that are said about individuals, about their families, is really not in keeping with the Barbadian culture that we have developed over the years. And I can only send a word of caution that you must be very careful, and certainly we will do what we have to do from the state's end to ensure that we protect the rights of individuals without, of course, prohibiting individuals from expressing themselves.
Local poultry farmers should soon see a reduction in feed prices. Come May 1st, Roberts Manufacturing will lower the cost of broiler feed by 3.5% over a 9-week period.
The price reduction is a result of Roberts Manufacturing trying to assist farmers who had wet litter management issues during the last 2 months of last year. At the time, water mixed with waste in the chicken farms, resulting in health problems for the birds and leading to the loss of several scores of chickens. As a major industry player in the sector, Roberts Manufacturing carried out an investigation to see what they could do to help farmers.
What we're planning to do, and in consultation with the Barbados Egg and Poultry Producers Association and the BES, is that we felt to discount the feed, overall broiler feed, on an average of 3.5%. I felt that a 9-week period may have been the best period to do it over, so that it can best assist and capture farmers who would have had issues, poultry farmers who would have had issues during that time.
During an egg and poultry seminar held at the Radisson Aquatica Resort, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, said he was concerned about poultry imports.
Where we should have been selling more, local producers were actually selling less. What also complicated it was the fact that this chicken can actually be produced in Barbados. And all we said then was that, look, let us know what your requirements are, what your specs are, and we are prepared to make it. Some restaurants indicated that they were not prepared to do that, and that they made some excuse saying that, it could only be brought from overseas. But, after discussion, we agreed that, look, if they gave us the specs, and we made the necessary investment in machinery and plant or whatever, it can be done.
Mr. Paul believes the issue can be resolved if government carries the tariff on imported semi-processed poultry back to 184%.
Yet another cabinet minister has voiced his solid support of Prime Minister Fendel Stuart's recent call for Barbados to become a republic. Industry Minister Donville Innes says it would be a major achievement for the island and has dismissed that there would be any economic fallout from such a move. He also says the state of the economy is not a factor in whether the island should become a republic.
I think, You know, we must be very, of course, respectful and mindful of those who have a difference of opinion. I am prepared to listen to all sides. But the truth of the matter is that, for me, it's not a matter of if, but when. I would like to know that come November next year, that we are a republic. It is not going to be pose any threat to investors. It is not going to stop British tourists from coming here.
Mr. Innes has also dismissed those who have attacked the timing of the Prime Minister's announcement.
For those who say that the Prime Minister's comment is a distraction, I think those people themselves are distractions from the reality of what's going on in Barbados. So this is a matter that the Prime Minister, I think, is absolutely correct on. I'm fully in support of it. I will do what I have to do to ensure that there is very frank and respectful discussion in my community and across this country on the matter.
CARICOM heads are preparing to meet with President Obama in Jamaica, and Government Advisor on Social Policy, Hamilton Lashley, believes talks on Caribbean youth should be high on the agenda.
The most important item that should be on that agenda is the one of the empowerment and enhancement of programs for our Caribbean youth, and that this whole issue of the threat of ISIS on the impressionable minds of our young people in the Caribbean must be fully addressed. Everything else, in my view, is of secondary importance because it has the potential basically to destroy the infrastructure and the moral fabric and the religious fabric, everything that we have grown accustomed to in the Caribbean.
The Barbados Agricultural Society continues on its drive to promote local produce and encouraging further consumption. But in order to ensure there is a market for farmers, its Chief Executive Officer, James Paul, says there must be greater linkages between the farming community and hoteliers. He complimented private sector organizations and businesses for supporting local produce. The BAS official is confident farmers on the island can produce many short-term vegetables.
We have no difficulty working with any wholesaler to be willing to provide them with whatever is needed. So it is not a question really that it is not available. It might not be available today or next week, but certainly within a matter of 7 weeks, any produce, short vegetable, can be available in this country. Okay, so it is a question really is that we need our importers, the persons who deal with food in this country to show a willingness to sit down and work with the farming community.
Mr. Paul says the issue of maintaining consistency of supply is one the BAS has been moving to address.
We, at the moment, are going to sit down and work with farmers. And we have been doing that. For instance, last year, I think consumers should be pleased by the fact that we were able to maintain consistent quantities of pumpkins being available throughout the year. We are trying to do this now with watermelons. Okay? We have done in the past initiatives when it comes to onions to try to increase their production. And we are looking at other crops that we can actually develop planting programs with farmers to encourage them to have consistent production of the commodities year-round.
What has been described as an economic recession affecting countries like Barbados is threatening to evolve into an intellectual one. As a result, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of the West Indies at Cave Hill, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, says nations are losing their edge and capacity to think clearly. He says the evidence is there of intellectual weakness, which has found its way into policy formulation. He says the university has suffered a tremendous setback following the recent move to impose fees. According to him, enrollment numbers have reverted to those seen in the early 1990s.
To return to 1994 enrollment levels is to suggest that there are thousands of students within our university who have been unable to complete their education. Thousands of students in the middle of their programs, at the beginning of their programs, who have been unable to complete their education. To these students and their families, I apologize. We have done our mightiest and our best.
Professor Beckles' comments came during the 2015 Student Awards ceremony, where the most outstanding scholars were awarded scholarships, bursaries, and prizes in acknowledgement of their achievements. There, he again questioned the consequences of the fee policy in the future.
That policy is targeting a particular social cohort, and it is a result of economic choice. This is how you proceed. And it's important, therefore, to have an alternate voice, which says, can we not look at other ways to do this? There are always other ways that can be adopted and used to pursue a common objective. There are always multiple ways to do it.
Executive Director of the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, Lisa Cummins, says the UAE has a great deal to offer to develop policy making across the region.
If Barbados and this region as a whole are to realize the potential that our forefathers and the crafters of a great vision for a Caribbean community saw many, many decades ago and codified in the various editions of literature that many of us have grown upon, we, you, us, all of us, must challenge that which is before us. We must think grand thoughts. We must aim at the pinnacle. We must reject mediocrity, disguised as excellence. Let no one tell you we can't do better.
Well, some good news now. More Barbadians are taking charge of their health by exercising. This is according to health promotions consultant in the Ministry of Health, Sheena Warner-Edwards. But she says while more Barbadians are becoming active, the statistics for various chronic non-communicable diseases are not yet changing. She was speaking to CBC News before the start of an exercise event at Church Village, the city, organized by the Health Promotions Unit. The event was part of activities to mark World Health Day yesterday.
We are seeing people being more active, and we're seeing a lot more community groups being active and children being active. So hopefully you'll see a change in the statistics within another 5 years or so, at least. But I think that Barbadians are moving. At least they're moving. It might be a toss between the physical activity and the diet, but we're working on that. And this series of Get Healthy is actually focusing on nutrition.
Ms. Warner-Edwards says diet is also critical to leading a healthy life, and Barbadians must eat more fruits and vegetables.
We are looking at promoting the local varieties, local fruits. If you grow your own fruit trees, at least you can pick those and eat those. Because 5 servings, it may seem to be a lot, but you can start, at least have a fruit a day. Start with that, and then you can build on that.
Students, past and present, of the Coleridge and Parry School, along with staff, will be afforded the opportunity to say their goodbyes to Deputy Principal Alva Hood, who passed away on April 1st. His body will be reposed in the Joseph S. Yearwood Hall at the St. Peter's School on Friday from 3 to 6 in the evening, where tributes will be paid. All students are invited and are asked to wear their full school uniforms.